Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Krista, and if you are new here, a big welcome to you. We are going to be doing Souptember this morning. I love soups. I am, I guess, well known in my little circle for soups, and I have several that are requested constantly, and I'm going to do 3 of those here for you today. So I have some more. I might do a second video, but these are probably, I actually have 4, but one of them I forgot to film. So I may come back and do that one at a later date for you. I didn't realize it until I was putting this together this morning. And honestly, I am too tired to do anything else about it. So we're going to have 3 today. 3 of the 4. It is a glorious rainy day. Finally, we have had no rain in so long. I have been out in my little porch garden this morning, and I am probably going to bring a video to you with a little mini tour. It might be a short of my porch garden because I am loving that this year. And I am definitely going to be starting a new channel soon. I have officially decided to move my cooking over to another channel and keep this one as a farm channel, because I do think there will be some value in the farm content. I just need to get my butt in gear and actually film it. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. I will let you know when all of that happens. But today we are talking about soup. So let's dive into this video. I have already clipped everything together, and the first one we are doing is French onion soup. Now, I will tell you, this is not my favorite soup to make whatsoever. And at some point in here, I have not actually put it in here yet, but I will pop in a picture I took. I took a selfie and sent it to a friend of mine because it was hilarious. The onions. I did 12 onions. I cut up 12 onions, and they were so potent, and I was literally crying. And so I had tried all the different tricks, and I ended up getting a napkin and soaking it in water and like putting it right here over my nose like a little mask, and wrapping it around my glasses. And I took a selfie and sent her to her. And I mean, it's kind of hilarious. It looks terrible, but I will pop it in here at some point because these onions were just atrocious. And that is one of the reasons I don't like making French onion soup. I know I could throw them in a food processor or something, but the way I like my French onion soup is I like them sliced. I don't actually have a mandolin, and my food processor used to have the little thing you stick down in there, and it had the disc that you could shred or slice, and my little piece that connects that disc is missing. Like, it's in the wild blue yonder. I think I have a cabinet gremlin. I don't know, but it has disappeared. And when I say cabinet gremlin, it's probably my daughter who empties the dishwasher and doesn't put things where they're supposed to go, even though she's lived the entire 12 years of her life. Okay? But anyway, so I hand chop pretty much everything. If it needs to be sliced or thick cut. Now, if it, needs to be finely diced or whatever, I'll throw it in the food processor. Anyway, so that's where we're at. That's why I don't particularly care for making French onion soup, but I do it at least once a year, and I tend to make like a triple batch when I do it, so I only have to do it once. That's why I'm dealing with 12 onions. I will give you the normal batch recipe of soup and where I started with it, and anything that I have changed for it, which is not really that much. It was, I don't know where I got the original recipe, so I will have to actually go back and find it, because I've been doing this for several years, and there is actually no name on my recipe, so I don't know where it came from. But I will find it, or else type it out in the description below. But you start out with a really good beef stock. Now, I do not show that in this because I don't follow this recipe for beef stock. I always make my own beef stock. And I did make a batch of chicken stock and beef stock ahead of schedule in preparation for these soups, because I made most of these within like a week time period, so I could put a bunch in the freezer. And so I'm not going to share with you the beef stock and the chicken stock part right now. Just know that your base is going to be beef stock for this. And I will share just doing stock at a later date. How about that? But anyway, so for the actual soup, you're going to use, I think it is, how many onions? 5. I had to think about it because, you know, obviously I'm doing like a dozen, but it's like 5 onions, and you were going to caramelize those onions, and that does take quite a while. I used an electric skillet and chopped them all up with the butter, and then added the garlic cloves, which I used minced garlic because I'm out of garlic cloves right now. We've talked about that in a previous video. I do not have a bay leaf. I don't typically use a bay leaf. This recipe calls for it. And then I use dried thyme as well, and a California Shiraz that I get at Aldi. Some $2 chuck, man. You do not need an expensive wine for this. And then, of course, you're going to have some flowers and 4 cups of beef broth, salt and pepper to taste. It asks for sugar. I don't put sugar in mine. So, and you will see right here, I just added the beef broth, my homemade beef broth that I had frozen into quart containers, and it's very gelatinous. So, French onion soup is honestly very simple, but it does take quite a while between making beef broth and letting those onions cook down. So we are moving on to roasted tomato basil soup. This is my top soup that everyone wants. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's really good, and we love it with grilled cheese sandwiches. Honestly, it's amazing. But it is not hard to make at all. So here it is. You do not have to get it from me. This is my recipe. Okay. So you're going to start out with 3 pounds of ripe tomatoes. Most people like to use plum tomatoes, but I will use whatever I have in my garden. I like to use a mix of tomatoes, but I had red this day, so this is what you have. And I go ahead and put 2 yellow onions chopped up or quartered on a roasting pan with my tomatoes. Obviously, this is more than 3 pounds because I'm making a huge batch. I think, I'm trying to remember if I did a triple batch that day or a double batch. I think I may have done a double. I'm not sure. Anyway, put them in the oven, roast them at 400 degrees with salt and pepper. And I go ahead and roast my onions as well. The recipe does not call for that. Then you are going to put some butter in a pan, and like 2 tablespoons. Again, you can't really look at my measurements on here because obviously I'm making like a triple batch. And you're going to saute down that garlic. Normally you would do your onions here as well, but since I throw them in the oven to roast, I didn't have to do that. And go ahead and add your seasonings here. So crushed red pepper. I go ahead and put in some Italian seasoning. You can also do just basil leaves if you want just basil. I like a little bit of both. There's your thyme. And I do use canned tomatoes in this recipe. I use both fresh and canned. Now, often I will home can my own plum tomatoes. I have not canned this year. All my plum tomatoes are in the freezer. So, I have not gotten to that step yet. So I did buy some store canned tomatoes just for this batch. I still used the fresh tomatoes for roasting, so you're still getting that good quality garden freshness in there. And the canned tomatoes I bought were the highest quality, you know, where it just says water plum tomatoes. I think it says either salt and citric acid or something like that. But anyway, you can do either or, but you need that juice that's in the canned tomatoes, and you want the juice that's in the roasted tomatoes as well. So you want a balance of the roasted and the raw, like, juice. So you will see me use 2 28-ounce canned plum tomatoes with their juice, although the recipe only calls for 1. Because like I said, I'm doing, it looks like a double batch because I didn't see a third can. And then you're going to start letting that cook, and you're going to add chicken stock. So this is where your chicken stock comes in. And you can also add in some non-spicy peppers, or if you want a little kick, you can add a little kick. But I like to do like 2 jalapenos, which are the jalapeno flavor, but not the heat. I like to add those in, or just like a green bell pepper, just to give it just that little more kick of flavor. But here goes all your roasted vegetables in. And that roasting those tomatoes just is where you get all that really deep flavor. It's so good. And the onions too. And when you're dealing with the tomatoes and stuff, it's not like, you don't have to be exact. You don't need exactly 3 pounds, just, you know. Or same with garlic. Measure garlic with your heart. Recipes are just a guideline on garlic. It's okay. Give that a good stir. Now I'm wanting soup again. I love soup. Like, I really love soup. Soup and crock-pot, need more coffee. Soup and crock-pot meals, man. They are like, I could be a soup queen or a crock-pot queen. Either one. I'm good with both. Or a casserole queen. I don't know. I obviously love food, so I could do any of that. I am not an Instapot person, though. Don't come at me with your Instapots. I'm not a fan. I have one. Not a fan. Oh, look. Okay. We do love our immersion blender. So, here we go. If you don't want any kind of skin or anything in your soup, you can run it through a, like, saucer or a sieve meal thing. I don't mind it. Nobody I know really minds it. So I just do the immersion blender and get it as smooth as possible. And that's the end of your soup. Now, because I freeze it, I stop it there. But when I go to serve it, I will often add a little bit of half and half to give it that creamy, almost bisque texture. Now, if I'm serving it with grilled cheese, I don't usually do that. But that is an option for you. So, and now we are moving on to my most second popular soup, which is white chicken chili. This is probably by far my most favorite soup. What do you think, Penny? Yep. I don't know if he was just answering yep to say yep, or if that really is his favorite soup. But white chicken chili. So he just made not even a cameo through here. He's on his way to his office in the basement. So anyway, white chicken chili. Look, more onions. Yay. Me and these onions, I'm telling you, I feel like I probably should smell like an onion because I cook with onions and garlic so much. But anyway, so you're going to throw some onions in a nice pot with some olive oil, and we will add some chopped garlic and garlic powder. I often will use both garlic and garlic powder, and sometimes both onion and onion powder through the process because it like layers the flavors. So just a keynote on that. If you see both fresh garlic, onion, and powdered, that's why it really layers those flavors together. So we are going to get that going. And with this, I did already cook the chicken and make the broth, so it is all homemade. But again, I will show you that at a later date. And if this is in the future that you are watching this, I may even pop up that future video, come back and pop it in. I don't know if I can do that, actually. I don't know if I can re-edit videos and just add cards. Somebody let me know if they know that answer. Or maybe you were watching the broth video and I popped this one in there. I don't know. However you found this, and when you find this, just welcome. I hope you make some white chicken chili because it'll change your life. Like, it's amazing. Alright, so there we go. We're adding the chopped garlic to the olive oil and the onion. And this one comes together really fast. You could technically, if you are busy and it is a weeknight and you need something warm and cozy, grab a rotisserie chicken and a can or a box of broth. You do not have to go all the way homemade every time if you just need food. Like, if this is what is calling your name and you don't have the process down of growing your own chickens and making your own broth and having chicken meat like I do ready to go get a rotisserie chicken. There is no shame in that, okay? Of course, I'm an advocate for homegrown food. The healthier, the better. Like, you know where your food comes from. You know exactly how it's been raised, what's gone in it. If there's antibiotics, if there's any medications, on my farm there will not be. But you know where your food comes from. However, if you do not have access to that, or you are not there yet, or you don't ever plan to be there yet, you can still make all of these recipes and use things from the grocery store or that you buy at a farmer's market. You can get really good quality foods at a local farmer's market, or get to know your local farmers and buy it straight from them and cut out the market. That's okay too. Like, yes, do that. But if you need a shortcut, a time saver, or a cheap dinner that only is going to take 30 minutes or whatever, 10 minutes to put together, go get a rotisserie chicken and some broth. Okay, done. Or go buy a fresh pack of chicken and cook it up and get a box of broth. Like, you will be fine. You can still make this recipe and it will still be good. I promise you, I have been making this for so many years. I made this back before I raised chickens and I bought from the grocery store, okay? It's totally fine. This is a very old recipe, and when I link it, you're going to see how old it is because it's my original food blog from back in like 2009. That is when I put this recipe on that blog. So there you go. I promise you, when I originally made this recipe, it was from a store-bought chicken. There you go. But it's not going to look as pretty as this chicken because I raised this chicken. And I do promise you that this chicken chili tastes much better than the original version that I posted, just because of the quality of ingredients. But it is totally fine to do that. I'm going to link that original recipe that tells you how to do it from the store. Completely. I'm trying to look to see if it says the broth from the store. I have to take it out of the little sleeve here. It just says chicken broth. So I either used, where I crock potted the chicken originally, I either used that broth or a box of broth. Most likely because it did say that I crock potted it, that I used the broth where it was cooking overnight. And apparently at some point in this video, I did not fast forward this. All right. And so here you can see I am adding my home canned broth. To the pot with the shredded chicken. And now we're just going to put in all the beans. So you can do Great Northern beans, white kidney beans. I like to mix the two. And then I am using 2 cans of diced green chilies from the store. I have made my own diced green chilies. We grew a bunch of poblanos and I canned up those. This was last year or the year before. I think it was the year before. And they were amazing. I'm out of them. And I have not canned the first thing this year. I am a terrible homesteader. I have not canned this year. I have a lot of things in my freezer for canning projects. It is what it is. So, you know, when you see I saw a comment the other day making fun of another channel, and they were like, they're not a real homesteader. They're using bagged broccoli. Okay, I can't grow broccoli all year round, and personally, I don't grow broccoli. I have tried. I've had a couple successes with it, but for the time and effort and energy it takes to grow broccoli, and for how much I get, because we use so much broccoli, and how much space it would take up in my garden to grow it twice a year and get as much as we would use, it doesn't make sense for the price I can buy it at the store. So I have learned that just because I can doesn't mean I have to. That is one of the hardest gardening lessons I think anyone needs to learn. So hear me right now. It is amazing to grow everything you eat. But just because you have the ability to do it, if it does not make sense for your life, don't worry about it. There are certain things that I absolutely have the ability to grow. Some things I'm not that great at, but some things I absolutely have the ability to grow. And I choose not to, because financially and for my mental health and for how much space that we have and the things that I have to do in my life, it makes way more sense for me to buy it. And broccoli is one of those. And some of these homesteaders on these channels, this person mentioned Meg at Holler Homestead. They were like, Meg does everything from scratch. She would never be caught dead using bag broccoli. I guarantee you she would. And in fact, in one of her videos, she even said they do go to the store, just not very often and for very few items. So don't put that on somebody and be like, well, you don't do it like this person. We don't do it like each other. I mean, I don't really consider myself a content creator. I am just a cook that happens to video and post it on here because I think it's valuable. I've always thought it was valuable. And I love the fact that my kids will be able to go back and show their kids these crazy videos unless the world implodes and the internet disappears. And then, you know, it doesn't matter anyway. However, I love posting videos. I always have, even before kids. I had a blog where I put videos. I love to do it and I love to record that. But I know I am off on a tangent. I got up on a soapbox. So let's get back to this video. Just don't put that on people, okay? Do not feel ashamed if you have a garden to buy back broccoli. All right. That is my little speech for the day. So, okay, we are back to this chili, and apparently we have gotten all of our green chilies and broth and chicken and everything mixed in. All of our salt, cumin, Italian seasoning, pepper, cayenne, and now we are making it into the creamy chicken chili right before you serve it. You can also freeze it like this. I promise it does great. I make huge batches of different soups and put them in the freezer, and so that I can have them for other people as well. So 32 ounces of sour cream. Oh no, that's a double recipe. We don't want that. We want the original 16 ounces of sour cream, 1 cup whipping cream, and 1 cup white cheddar cheese. And that is going to make this soup just ooey gooey, creamy, warm, and cozy. And it's going to be amazing. So there are my top 3. And I will go ahead and tell you if I had recorded it like I thought I had. I cannot find the clips. My 4th one is a corn chowder. It's amazing. I've made it twice already this year. And I have another, I don't know, 2 or 3 bags of corn that I specifically put in the freezer from this year's harvest to make more. So the potatoes have been coming in out of the garden. I actually need to make some more because I like to use the potatoes and the corn when they're as fresh as possible. So I temporarily put the corn in the freezer until the potatoes are harvested, and then I make a bunch of corn chowder, and it's done for the year. So you can do that. It helps with meal prepping. It helps with preserving your harvest. You can absolutely go ahead and put together meals from what you pull in fresh or what you purchase fresh. You can go to the farmer's market and purchase corn fresh and purchase potatoes fresh and do the same thing if you do not have the space to grow a garden like that, especially one big enough for corn and potatoes. You can purchase them fresh. Go ahead and put these meals together. This is the perfect time. End of August, beginning of September. Make you a bunch of soups. Put them in containers. Put them in your freezer. And you have them for all of fall and winter. So easy. You can can them. You can can most of these soups. Not the ones with the milk in them. But you can can most of the soups. So I hope you have enjoyed the white chicken chili, the roasted basil tomato, and the, what else did we do? Oh yes, the French onion soup. I don't make that one very often. It's nice to have right in the beginning of the season. We keep a few containers of it. It's really good, but we don't eat it but maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So one recipe of that will hold you through. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you back next week with more fall fun recipes. Bye, guys.